everyone. Welcome to Hard Topics, Easy English, a weekly podcast for English learners where we talk about the important news, stories, and ideas that are changing our world. I'm your host, Lynne Welton, an English teacher with a master's degree in political economics. You might be wondering why I'm making this podcast. Well, I've been teaching English since 2005, and I've noticed something. There isn't much out there for people learning English who are in those in-between intermediate levels. You know, pop songs sound silly now that you understand them. Books in simple English are just too childish. But anything made for thinking, curious adults is still too hard. Maybe you've tried watching movies or the news, like CNN or BBC, but it's still too fast and has too many unknown words. Or the worst, it's full of idioms, like, it's a piece of cake. What does that mean? That's why I'm making this podcast, as a bridge from elementary to advanced levels. Well, that and because, as an English teacher, the books we use in class are sometimes boring. They have discussion questions about topics in the book, but those topics aren't usually interesting enough to start a meaningful discussion. And we know that speaking practice is what most students need, and we need to talk about what's happening in the world around us, especially as our world gets smaller and more connected. That's why I'll post the discussion questions for each episode, and the tape script, and even some online vocabulary cards, so you can study on your own, using a site called Quizlet.com. So, what's the podcast about? Well, I watch a lot of news, TED Talks, and documentaries, and I listen to a lot of other podcasts about politics, economics, history, social problems, and even science. I love science. So I'll try to put all of that information together and use it to discuss topics that are important to you. But topics that are hard to find in course books, or even other English learning blogs, YouTube channels, and podcasts. I hope every week this podcast will tell you something you didn't already know, make you think about the world in a new way, start conversations about important topics, and, of course, give you a little extra listening practice with natural English, just spoken a little bit slower and more simply. This podcast will be great for people in those in-between levels, pre-intermediate, intermediate, and upper intermediate. Even if your level is more advanced, you can still listen in a more relaxed way, maybe while going to work, walking, or exercising. And if your level is lower, you can study the vocabulary cards and read the tape script first before listening. I also hope other English teachers or speaking club organizers will find this podcast useful to start meaningful conversations and as extra listening practice, either in class or as homework. I hope you're as excited about this podcast as I am. And soon you'll be able to find episodes on my website, hardtopicseasyenglish.wordpress.com, and on iTunes and Google Play. You can download podcast apps like Stitcher onto your phone and then download the episodes so you can listen wherever you go. And don't forget to subscribe so you can see when new episodes are out. The first episode should be out on Tuesday, July 25th. And feel free to leave comments on the website. Tell me what you like or what things I can improve so the podcast can get better and better. And tell me any topics you'd like to hear about in the future episodes. Thanks for listening, and talk to you soon. Bye!